Good morning, Ronak. Good morning, Krati. Good evening, Rakesh. Good morning, Abhay. We'll begin shortly. Couple of minutes. We'll give the time to the people to join, and then we'll start. Thank you. Good evening, Bhakti. Thank you all. Welcome. Good morning. Good evening, Shivam. Good evening, Prabhat. Good evening, Shivam Chauhan. Good morning, Amik. Good evening, Neeraj. Okay, so let's begin now. So what we want to talk today is about production. We discussed pricing a couple of days. We spent a lot of time on it. So today, um, we want to talk about production. So primarily we will be talking about is a production order and how do we create a production order with the routing. Okay. So production order and the routing process, which we're gonna discuss and talk about. So here, how do we create a production order? And there is two terms here. The one is we call it how do we create a production order, and the second thing which we talked about, how do we maintain the routing. So two different things. So how do we create a production order, and then how do we create routing? They're two different words. Production order and the routing. So we'll talk about how do we create and manage our production order, and we're going to create a production order, and we're going to talk about how do we maintain the routing in SAP. So that is what our discussion point for today is. So that is the topic, and that is the point, and that is the area which we will be discussing today. Create and manage production order with routing. So production order is being used for the purpose of the manufacturing. So if you have a complex manufacturing, in those cases we can use a production order. We can create a bill of material with the routing. So how do we do the production? How do we create a bill of material? How do we create a production order? And the sequencing of the production order. So that is what we wanted to talk in this example. in this topic. So this is a example of a bill of material with the routing. We're going to do that. So, for example, our company is making wooden cabinets. Okay. So we're manufacturing, we're producing wooden cabinets. And for the wooden cabinets, we can have different type of functions in it. And we can have if you see this example, if you manufacture the white wooden cabinet, we can have different stages. Stage 1, we do the cutting. Stage 2, we do sanding. Stage 3, we do the painting. Stage 4, we do assembly. This is just an example. So cutting, sanding, painting, and assembly. So if I'm manufacturing a material, then that material can go through these different stages in which we can have a cutting machine. So if you see that here, we need something called cutting machine. If I'm doing a cutting, then I need a cutting machine. When I'm doing a cutting, then I might need a machine operator. I might need wooden plates. So I need a raw material, for example. Then we do sanding. In the sanding, we can do like a sanding machine. Okay. We can do machine operator. Then we do stage 3, which is the painting. In the painting, we can have a painting machine, which is done by the painting operator. In order to do the painting, I need white paint. In the last, we do assembly. Assembly is done by carpenter. In that, we have a certain raw material. We need hinges. We need shelves. We need handles. We need screws. All those different items we need, and all of them together is an example of creation of the bombs with the routing. So this is an example. Yeah, good evening, Gurudev. So we can have all these different stages, and we can have this bill of material. So that is what we wanted to discuss and talk and review. In this example. So let's say I want to create a bomb. So we want to create a bomb in SAP. So how do we create a bomb in SAP? So for creating the bomb, first and foremost, we need raw material. So if we take an example of this, I need wooden plates, because if I'm manufacturing, then I need wooden plates. Then we need white paint. So this is creating a bomb in SAP for, so let's say we have an item that is called white cabinet. So we have white wooden cabinet. So we are making a white wooden cabinet. So if you're making a white wooden cabinet, then I need a wooden plate, I need a white paint, and then we also need some other, I need hinges. So we need to put a hinges. What need? We need handle. Okay. Etc. You know, all these different things we need. We can create as many as we want. So we can create all those different raw materials in SAP, for example. So the very first thing we should do, we should have a raw material, right? So raw material is the item master. We're measuring the material before cutting. You've not even started the class, right? Start listening first, correct? Listen what I'm doing. This whole production left. Okay, so we have a raw material. So in the raw material, first we create a wooden plate. So we go back to inventory. So we want to create an item. So we see that here we have so many items there. We can probably create some more. Okay, so it's easy. We can just create some more item. So we are creating item number 1. We call it raw 01, and I will call this as a wooden plate. We'll call it as a wooden plate because we need wooden plate. Then we enter the finished good. It's a simple material. So here we enter unit of price. So it's a simple material because we need to have a raw material. We create a raw material. And then we edit. So we created a raw 01. Raw 01. Then there is a white paint. So I want to create another raw material. Okay. So we close that. Then I want to create another raw material. So we want to create another raw material. That raw material is raw 02. Raw material. And that raw material which you are creating is paint, because we are creating a paint, white paint. So we create a white paint. You need to measure whatever kilogram, kilogram, kilogram. And then we edit. So we create another raw material 2. So we create second raw material. So we have a raw material 02. Then we go to hinges. So we go to next item. We call it row 03. So if you have to make a cabinet, we need hinges also. So we create hinges, because in order to fix it, we require hinges. It's just an example. So we can do the whole end-to-end process. How do we create a bill of material in SAP? Okay. Okay. And then we add. So we created raw 03. Okay. So we create handles. Because we're creating cabinet, we need handles. Okay. We put a unit of measure. Because when you create a bill of material, then you need components. Okay. And then we have something called finished good, right? So we also have a finished good, because we have, let us say, we are manufacturing this wooden white wooden cabinet. White wooden cabinet. So this white wooden cabinet is our that white wooden cabinet is our finished good. Okay. So here I want to create another finished good. So say FG 06, and we call it a finished good, which is white wooden cabinet, finished good. Each. So this is a finished good. So we created a new item and we call it FG10. So we can have an item called FG10. So FG10 is our finished good. So that is what basically these are the items. Now if you see here, this is what we were talking. This is bill of material with the routing. In the routing, if you see here, we have a cutting machine, sanding machine, we have a assembly which is done by carpenter. So how do we create a BOM? So if I want to create this bill of material in SAP, the way this looks like, then how can we create this bill of material in the SAP? That is the question we have. Okay, that is the question we have. So let's do that. We have bill of material here. So let's say I'm creating white wood carton. So this is the bill of material screen. So I'm creating a white wooden cabinet, one piece. I have a stage one. This is stage one. In the stage one, we are doing cutting. Yeah. So we do cutting. So we select that here, and then we go to resource, and then we have a cutting. In that we have another resource, and then we call it operator one. So cutting is done by operator one. We see that here, I need machine operator. Then I need wooden plates. So I need wooden plate, and the wooden plates is raw material 01. So RW01. That is wooden plate. Okay. Then we go to stage two. Okay. Now, what is that, and how do we work onto this? And then here, I put production stage 2. In the production stage 2, we have something called sending machine. We go to resource. So we can create and we call it sending. We'll talk about the resources also and how do we maintain all these resources as well. Shipping, sending, okay. Then we go to who does this. So that is done by operator because we need operator 2. So we do have operator 2. Then we have a, if you see here, we need a sending. Then we have to do painting. So after this sending is done, the next step for us to do the painting. So we go to stage number 3. So you put a stage number 3. Then we put a resource. And the resource, then we put it here, painting. So we can choose painting. So we have painting machine. I need operator 2. So I need to have an operator to do the painting. Then we also need a paint. So that is raw material 02. We have a paint which is raw material 02. So raw 02. Okay. So we can enter raw 02. Then we put route stage. Then we put a stage 4 here. Resource means like you need cutting machine, right? So that cutting machine is a resource machine. You need an operator. Yeah. So that operator is a resource. We will talk about the resource also. There is a separate topic only on the resource as well. We are creating a bomb right now. Because when you're making, right? So when you need wooden plate, but you also need machine operator. That operator is a resource. That cutting machine is a resource. A sending machine is a resource. That painting machine is a resource. That carpenter who is doing assembly, he's a resource. You got it? So we go to resource. So we have painting. And after painting, the next thing which we do, so we have done the painting, white paint. And after painting, the next step, the fourth step, which we're going to do here, is the assembly process. So we go to stage 4, and then we're going to do so we go assembly process, and assembly process is done by operator 4. And in order to do assembly, he needs hinges. And then we need handle. I think we can handle also. So we need 2 pieces of handle. Okay, so that is what we have done here. Okay, so this is raw 04. Now, one more thing which you also need to do, one more thing, we need to enter their price. So here we can enter their price. Where is it? Okay, so we can enter the price here also. So that is 500 rupees. Then we do it in 200. Then this is 300. We have a handle for 250. So we update their price also. Okay. Now, one more thing which talks here is, now here we have a issue method which is called manual. I want to change it. Manual. 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 And this is what we have it here. So we created a BOM. So we have cutting, sanding, painting, and assembly. We are creating a wooden cabinet. That is what we do it in SAP. So we have a cutting, sanding, painting, assembly. Cutting is done by operator 1. We need wooden plate. Then operator 2, sanding, which is done by operator 2. Then we have a stage 3, which is done by the painting machine. Then we have operator 3. Then we have a white paint. Then we have a production 4. Then we have assembly process 4. Operator, which is done by operator 4. He need 4 inches of the hinges. He need 2 pieces of the handle. This is end-to-end process. Okay. So these are the different process steps which we do in SAP, and then we add it here. Operation completed successfully. So we created a BOM. And then we create a production. And if I want to go and check this BOM for FG10, I can check this item, FG10. And here we also have raw material. There is something called issue method, back plus. We talked about that briefly before. We're going to talk and we can discuss this again. And so that is basically, this is the BOM. This is the BOM which you see here. Okay. Now, how do we create a production order? So we create a BOM. Now we want to go and create a production order. How do we create a production order? So we hit OK. Before I do, so this is production order. If you see here, how do we create a production order? And just 1 minute, I want to do cost roll up. Okay. Now I want to go back and create a production order. Then we have FG10. Okay. Now everything get copied here. Now this is production order. You see that here? This is the production order. There is a production order. This bill master belong to independent bill, not belong to master data. What is your question? I didn't understand this. Bill of material is a master data in SAP. So in SAP, BOM or bill of material is a master data. Bill of material is a master data. Then we are learning how to create a production order. So we created production order. So we learn how to create a production order. In this production order, a couple of things which is important. This is my item, FG10. This is production description, white wooden cabinet, one piece in this warehouse. Then stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, stage 4. Stage 1, we're going to do cutting, and that has operator 1. Then he need a wooden plate. And then here we have a base quantity, plant quantity, additional quantity, available quantity, warehouse, issue method, start date, end date. Now if I see this cutting machine, so if I see this is my resource, this is my cutting machine. So that basically means one quantity, means I need 1 hour. Now what is cutting machine? This is a master data. So we need 1 hour of this master data. We need 1 hour of this master data. Then we have a 16 hours which is available. Now from where this 16 hour is coming, we don't know yet. Then we need operator 1. And operator 1, we need 1 hour. You see, 1 hour means that operator will require 1 hour to do the cutting. How much he has? 8 hours. Then wooden plate. He need 1 piece of the wooden plate. How much is available? 0 quantity. See that 0. Nothing is available. So material is not there. Then we go to stage 2. In the stage 2, we have here do the sending process. And we have a 16-hour capacity. This is available. I need 1 hour. I'm covered. I'm good. Then we go to stage 2. In the stage 2, we need 1 hour. And the available is 8 hours. Then we go to stage 3. In the stage 3, we go to painting. In the painting, we do 16 hours. So we need 1 hour. I have a 16 hour. Now from where 16 hour coming, we don't know. I need operator 2 because somebody will do the painter. Painting will be done in the painter. That painter, I need 1 hour. I have a 8 hour. In order to do the painting, he need a white paint. So he need 1 kilogram of the paint. How much paint we have? 0. We don't have any paint at all. Then we go to stage 4. In the stage 4, we do the assembly process. In the assembly process, we need 1 quantity, and then I need 16 pieces. Okay. Then assembly process, we need operator 4. And then we need hinges, 4 pieces. And then we need a handle, 2 pieces. But the interesting thing is, I don't have any hinge. I have available 0. I'm looking at the handle, I have a 0. So that basically means okay. I added. See the message in the bottom? Operation completed successfully. We create a production order. This is the production order we created. I don't have a raw material. I don't have a raw material. We create a production order. We find out the problem. We do not have raw materials. We do not have the raw materials. We need to purchase raw material. Now this is the integration. If I go to production order, so I create a production order. So, but the problem is I need wooden plate. I need 1 piece. Available is not there, -1. I need white paint. I need 1 kilogram. I have a -1. I don't have it. I need hinges, 4 pieces. I don't have it, -4. I need the handle. I don't have it, -2. This is important because this gives you capacity. This also gives you availability of your raw material. Means you cannot manufacture unless you have a raw material, system tells us. So then we create a production order. So we go to production and we create a purchase order. Okay. So we close this window. We want to go to purchase order. We create a vendor. We select the vendor, whatever the vendor it is. And then I create a raw material, raw 01, raw 02, raw 03, raw 04. So now see the quantity. Yeah? Did you notice? I did not enter the quantity. 1142. This get automatically defaulted. I did enter this. So this quantity 1142, this got automatically defaulted. And how this got automatically defaulted? How it got automatically defaulted? Because system knows that for this, these raw material is needed in this production order, and in this production order, I need one piece of this, one piece of this, 4 kilogram of this, four pieces of this. So that quantity get automatically defaulted here. I can change it. I'm buying more because I'm buying it, so I can buy more. I can change any quantity I want, but I get a quantity automatically defaulted from the production order here. And then we add and view. We operation completed, and then we copy. And then we hit add and view. So we did a go sit. So now we have a material in our stock. After having this material in the stock, I want to go to production order. And there is a refresh button. You see that refresh button here? This is a refresh button. If you hit this refresh button, then what happens? What happens in this refresh button is, see this hinge, I need 4, available 96. I have a handle, need 2, I have 98 more. I need a white paint, 1 piece, I have 99. This automatically get updated. That is what we see in the production order. Now, there is something called routing date calculation field. Routing date calculation field. Routing date calculation. On start, on end, start date forward, back end date forward. This is the 4 date calculation. Now, where is these 4 date calculation? So we have in the route date calculation, if you go to drop down, we have these 4 options. Start date, end date, start date forward, end date forward. Start date, end date, start date forward, end date backward. That is what we have. Start date, on end date, start date forward, end date backwards. Now, what is the meaning of that? Okay, let's understand what is the meaning of the ISA. So by default, we have on start date. So here on the top, we have a start date 10/16, which is today. Okay. Give me 1 minute, guys. Okay. Now let's understand them. This from where the system getting quantity 0. Availability. What is the stock? How much stock we have? So system check how much stock we have, and from there it picks up the quantity. That's what it does. So let's understand routing date calculation, stage date, and the resource consumption. So here we have date of the stages, start date, end date. So this stage is start on this date, this is start on this date, this is start on this date, this is start on this date. And the 10/16 come from start date and end date, which is there on the header. So what basically means when we say resource allocated to the start of each date. So that basically means when you see here, the resource is allocated. So if you see the cutting machine, so cutting machine is allocated on 16th. On 16th. Then when we say, if we choose end date, so we have another option here, end date. We can say, so when system consider my resource to be consumed, on what date we will consider our resource to be consumed, at the start or at the end. I'm gonna take, let us say, 1 day for manufacturing. So when we consider consume, at the start of the day or end of the day. So we have two choices, start of the day or end of the day. Now we have a total of 4 options. Start of the day, end of the day. Now there is something called a start date forward. Now let's look at carefully. So here we have a start date forward. Start date forward. Now what is this start date forward basically mean? So start date forward basically means that resource start from the first stage. So see that here, that is the first stage. Then it goes into one after another. Then the end date of the first is the start date of the next. So that basically means, so this is 116. If I go to the next one, so start date of this is the end date of the previous. That is what this basically means. This is the end date. And you see that this become red. Okay. And then we can also update this as well. We can change the quantity as well. So if you see that I put some additional quantity, more quantity, and I say update. Now see here. So this is 10/16, and the end of this cutting is 10/17. End of this whole stage is 119. So stage 1 end on 19. Then stage 2 starts on 19. Stage 3 end on 10/24. Stage 4 start at 10/24 and end at 10/26. So when the previous date ends, the next route starts. So this is working in sequence. You finish stage 1, then go to stage 2, then go to stage 3, then go to stage 3. So if you see the date here, so this is 10/16, and the last, it finishes on 10/26. So it starts and goes to the 10 days. That is what we have here, a start date forward. Then we have a start date backward. A start date backward basically means the date system takes from the back. So the difference between the first and this one. So this is the initial date, then goes into the further. In this case, what happens? It is start from the last and take into the back. So end date backward. This is a start date forward. It start from date and take it forward. In end date, it takes end date forward. It start from the end date and take it forward. So if you want to change, you can change it, and this is the update button. We have it here, and you can define whatever the date. System will start from the last date onward. So that is the start date and date backward. Now this is how the system calculates the required days. And what is the difference between the two? Now this is a simple example. Sometimes it's difficult to understand. So this example of a start date forward and end date backward. Just to explain these two date calculation methods with an example. So I need 12 hours of capacity. The total capacity I require is 12 hours. Day 1, I have a 4 hours. Day 2, I have a 6 hours. Day 3, I have a 4 hours. And day 4, I have a 10 hours. So this resource, I need 12 hours of this resource to finish the work. So let's say, for example, I'm finishing some, I want to assign some work. And for that work, I need 12 hours. If I need 12 hours, and let's assume on the day 1, I have this resource available 4 hours. Day 2, this resource is available 6 hours. Day 3, this resource is available 4 hours. Day 4, this resource is available 10 hours. So 4 hours, 6 hours, 4 hours, 10 hours. Okay. 4 hours, 6 hours, 4 hours, 10 hours. Okay. So 4, 6, 4, 10. Now what happens is I need 12. Because in order to finish this work, I need 12-hour work. So I need 12 hours to finish this work. So in this method, what happens is, because in the first day 4 hours, so we finish 4 hours. Then next day I have that resource available is 6 hours, so take 6 hours. And then third day he goes and take 2 hours. So the required time, required days for this start date calculation is 4 plus 6 plus first day, second day, third day, and third day is half, because he's available 4 and do 2, so half. So that basically means if I do start date forward calculation, in this it's gonna take 2.5 days. If I do end date backward, then I start from the day 4. So because day 4, that resource is available 10 days. So that basically means in this method, he starts on the day 4, and day 4 he has 10 hours available. And then he needs 2 more hours. So that day 3, 4 hours available. So he takes 2 hours from here. So that basically means if I do end date backward calculation, that basically means that resource will take 1.5 days. So that is the difference between start date forward and end date backward. And we have a different calculation methods which you can choose: a start date, end date, a start date forward, end date backward. Okay. System is total day calculation. In total day calculation, system takes total days required plus waiting time. There can also be waiting time as well. So there can also be waiting time involved. Sometime for certain resource, you see that here, I might have a waiting time also. So waiting for whatever reason. The total days is required days plus waiting time. So I need this painting machine for 1.5 hours. And after 1.5 hours, I need 1 day waiting because the paint has to dry out. Because if I'm doing painting today, I can't use this wooden pattern tomorrow, because after doing painting, I have to wait 1 day. Because that paint has to dry out. So that time when this paint is drying out, that is an example of the waiting time. Because I can't go to the next stage because I have to do the waiting. That is why here we have a waiting days. So waiting day, I can define waiting days because if I have to dry out, so painting itself is going to take 1.5 days. but waiting is required for 1 day because 1 day paint has to dry out and become ready for the next step. So total time which will require total day calculation is 2.5. 1.5 plus 1, 2.5 days I will take for this whole painting process to finish, because only after 2.5 days this painted would be ready for assembly. I can't do assembly immediately after doing painting. That option is not there. So that is the total day calculation. You can also see production time calculation. Yeah? Production time, how much it will take end-to-end production. Yeah. So if you see the production time here, so we have so let's say I'm doing painting. For the painting, I need 10 hours. Operator, painting machine will take 10 hours. Operator will take 5 hours. So what is the maximum? 10 hours. So although my operator only need 5 hours, but because machine will be consumed for the 10 hours, so my total production time, which the maximum largest production time which you take, that is called production time for that particular stage. So in this example, my production time is the largest production time for all the rows, which is 10 hours in this example. Okay. So that is how system calculates the production time. And you can see all these different, examples and buttons and all that. And we're going to discuss again more about them as well. So that is the production time. We talk about routing recalculation. So if you want to do routing here, so routing date recalculation, we look at the 4 examples, the start date. And if I do this, and I can change it. If I make some kind of change in the quantity, for example. So you can make, and I update this. And I can hit update button. And I can update my order. And you can choose different options here. This is update now. When you make a change, update now. Okay. And then we do the issue of the component. How do we do the issue? So we create a production order. So this is a production order. This is a production order number 447. So this is a production order 447. So now we're going to talk about the next thing, which is how do we do the issue of the components? So how do we issue of components? Issue of the component. Okay. Issue of the components. What is the issue of the component basically means? And how do we do? If I right click here, and here we have various, and I don't see anything called issue here. Different thing I can see, the copy, delete item, new activity, this and that. If you see this production order, in the production order, we have something called status planned. And then I make it release. You create a production order, you plan it, and you release it. Release basically means when your production actually starts. When you release, then you get an option which says issue component. Issue component. And that is what we have here. Issue component. An issue you can only do after release. Before release, you cannot do issue component. So it's issue component. This is issue component selection criteria. Issue components. Now here you can choose. You want a component for cutting, you want for sending, you want for painting, you for assembly, you want one of them, you want all of them. You can choose. You can choose stage by stage. You want only stage 1, you want only stage 2, you want only stage 3. You want stage 1, or you want all of them. You can choose. You want to issue item. So see here, there's an item, there's a resource, item and resource. So, so when you go to hinges, handle, white paint, wooden plate, those are example of item. When I have operator 1, operator 2, operator 3, operator 4, this is example of a resource. Then we do cutting machine, a painting machine, assembly, that is example of a resource. And then we hit OK. Now system tells me that wooden plate, I'm consuming 1 piece. White paint, I'm consuming 1 piece. Hinges, I'm consuming 4 pieces. Handle, I'm consuming 2 pieces. I say add. Add. Operation completed successfully. What we did, we issued the components to the production. We can issue stage by stage, item by item, or all of them together. We did all of them together. All of them together. Now the last step, we call it here report completion. Report completion basically means when your production is completed, you're done, everything is okay, you finished. I say report completion. In the report completion, what is happening? This is my 1 piece of white wooden cabinet is coming, and I add the yes, completed. What we did, then we go to relationship map. So we have a production order 447, item is FG10, and then we have issue for production, and the issue for production so we have issue. So you see that issue for production 511, issue for production 510, receive for production 444. What does this basically mean? So what happened? So against this production order, we have an item called 447. Then we have a FG10 for this item. And from this item, we receive from production, because finished goods, which is a wooden cabinet, we received. 1 quantity of the wooden plate came into my warehouse. If I want to go back and check the inventory, I can check the inventory status also. This is the inventory status. I select the inventory. And if I want to go back and check the inventory status, I can check the inventory status. Now I have a 1 stock, white wooden cabinet. I have a 1 piece in my stock. Okay. And then we have 2 issues. Issue 511, 510. I go to 510 first. In the 510, system tells me that 1 piece of wooden plate, 1 piece of white paint, 4 pieces of the hinges, 2 pieces of handle has been consumed. And if I want to go and check the stock, I can check the stock of this item as well. So I want to see what is the situation of my, let us say, hinges are. So if I go to hinges, I left 96. 4 pieces are gone, consumed. We close it, we close it, we close it. If you go to 511, in the 511 it tells me that my cutting machine, one quantity. And now we will talk about resources in next class. So the next class we'll talk about the resources, resource planning, resource capacity planning. Somebody was asking how this resource capacity come into the picture. So we are cutting machine, 1 hour consumed. Operator, 1 hour consumed. Shipping, 1 hour consumed. Operator, 1 hour consumed. Printing, 1 hour consumed. Operator 2, 1 hour consumed. Assembly process, 1 hour consumed. Operator 4, 1 hour consumed. All those hours have been consumed. And that is our, what is next step? So in the next step, we're going to go into the resource. What is cutting machine? What is printing machine? What is assembly process? We have not discussed that yet. How do we calculate their capacity planning? That we'll calculate in the next class. So with that, thank you very much. And we'll talk next week. Have a good weekend, and we'll talk on Monday. So thank you. And talk to you next week. Thanks. Thank you, guys.